For more on this, we're joined by Brent Sadler, Senior Research Fellow for Naval Warfare and Advanced Technology at the Heritage Foundation Center for National Defense. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. You know, it appears that President Biden and President Xi agreed that nuclear war shouldn't be an option. But can we take China's word on this?
Well, I mean, the words are cheap in this regard. It's really comes down to what they've invested in their nuclear arsenal. Just in summer of 2021, China was revealed tripled the size of their intercontinental ballistic missile arsenal. And one has to assume that the number of nuclear warheads is far outstrips just the number of weapons that they have or those launchers. So the deeds certainly basically belie an intent to use nuclear deterrence more actively from China, despite the words of the G20.
Here's exactly what China's foreign minister released in a statement confirming that she told President Biden, quote, "Nuclear weapons cannot be used and nuclear wars cannot be fought." But what's to say they're not assisting Russia right now in their nuclear capabilities, or that they will going towards the ongoing conflict in Ukraine?
Well, I think it's important to point out that both the Russians, and it was Putin early on in this, after he invaded Ukraine in February of this year, that he threatened the use of nuclear weapons against, soon-to-be NATO members and Finland and Sweden if they went that path. Very, very explicitly against also the United States and NATO more generally, the use of nuclear weapons. And China shares the same type of thinking and doctrine that goes back to the Soviet eras and the height of the Cold War. And that's the use of nuclear weapons or saber rattling to affect the calculation and the decisions made in Washington, D.C. in particular. And so China could see the use or the placement of tactical nuclear weapons around Taiwan as a way to dissuade the United States from honoring its defense obligations in the region.
Our CIA director was in Turkey speaking to his Russian counterpart, warning them against using nuclear weapons in the war with Ukraine. But how much weight does that word carry? How does the U.S. have does the U.S. have anything in their arsenal to deter that kind of action?
Well, the United States still has a position of strength overall, economically, politically, or diplomatically, and militarily. It's how it chooses to use that. And what we saw at the G20, at the summit meeting between Xi Jinping and President Biden, is our president to play very weakly a strong hand. That sends a very mixed signal to revisionist powers in Moscow and Beijing. And when it comes to specific capabilities, there is one chink in our armor in the United States, and that is we don't have adequate tactical nuclear responses. And that's not that we need to use it. It's to demonstrate to the Chinese and the Russians that they don't have a free pass. Because right now there are several rungs on that escalation ladder, notably in the tactical nuclear realm, that we don't have. And that means that if the Chinese or the Russians threaten the use of nuclear weapons, or heaven forbid if they actually use them in Ukraine or around Taiwan, the only option that we have is to go large. And that actually unravels very rapidly into massive nuclear exchanges. And that's something the United States will take a lot of damage and a lot of losses before it makes that decision.
All right, Brent Sadler, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.